Hello, my name is Anna-Karin and I wrote a handbook about making babies as a lesbian.
Hello, my name is Oliver and I'm a trans guy who makes videos about LGBTQIA+ people where they get to talk about anything that they want that somehow relates to them being queer. This is a very special video for me because it's the second video I'm shooting with Anna-Karin, and the first one I made with her was actually the first ever video I did on this channel. That was almost 4 years ago and she had just given birth to her son Bobo, and she was talking about that, being a lesbian mother, and about her podcast about becoming a mother as a lesbian person. Now she's back to talk about a book that's just been published that she's written.
My name is Anna-Karin. I live in Gothenburg, Sweden. I live in a house. I have one wife and 2 kids and 1 dog. And also I have just written a book about making babies as a lesbian.
This is why she wrote the book.
I wrote it because I felt that it should be one, and there isn't one in Swedish, or wasn't one before. And when I started trying to get pregnant and thinking about kids, I really wanted to read a book about it, and I searched the libraries but didn't find anything. That's when I started to think that it should be one, so I wrote one.
She's been working on it for a very long time.
It has been quite a long process because when I tried to conceive, then I started to write about my feelings and everything about the inseminations and everything around it. So a big part of the book is my notes from that time. And you can follow my process to finally getting a kid. So I had that. Then I started my podcast. I got a lot of new information and talked to a lot of people. So I thought that, okay, now I have all this information and I really should do something about it. So I started to write a book. Actually, I broke my elbow when Bobo was like 1 year, something like that. And then I had to get surgery to fix it. And after that, I couldn't pick him up or change diapers or interact with him so much. So I decided that I should go away for 1 week to our little house on the countryside. And that week, on a lot of morphine, was when I wrote the book, or the core of it. And then it has been a process since then. I've been fixing with it and back and forth.
So what can be found in the book?
Apart from my story, there are also other people's stories. There is a lot of information and facts, like what are our options, and what do we have to think about around those options, and also around everything. So it's also a lot about what to think about before having kids as a lesbian and also after. So I try to cover the whole picture of it because there are so many things to think about and many options to take. I wanted it all collected in one place, and also that it should be like easy to read and not too academic, more like a personal level, but also with the facts.
When the book was written, it was time to get it published.
The process of getting the book out has been quite long, because first there were 2 people who were about to start a book publishing company, and they wanted to give out this book as their first book. But then they decided that no, they couldn't afford this, and they didn't start a book publishing company. Then I got a little bitter, and I got tired of the book and didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore. But then maybe a year later, I started to think again that no, it needs to get out. Now I have written it. So I started to fix with it again, and then I sent it to different book publishers in Sweden. And I got really nice letters back. They said that it was a good and important book and well written and such, but that the audience was too small. I can understand them because they, of course, just want to make money. But from my point of view, the audience would be enough if it only helped one person. Then after that, I got tired of the book again and a little bitter again. Then it went some time, and then I picked it up again and thought that no, I have to do this myself because it's gonna get out. So then I published it on Amazon as a KDP. I have published it myself.
She's very happy with the results.
I am so proud of it just existing. Because also I have always wanted to write a book. So now it feels really good that I have written such, as I think myself, important book.
She hopes that the book will be read by many different types of people.
Well, it's obviously for lesbians who wants to have babies, but in a perfect world, everyone would read it. Because I think both midwives and people who meet lesbian in their work could have use of reading this book, because then they don't have to ask certain questions that doesn't have to be asked. They can have a more full understanding of what it means having babies as a lesbian. And also, I think everyone else, because then people wouldn't have to ask stupid questions to lesbians who are pregnant. Like, how can you be pregnant? You are with a girl, aren't you? And who's the father? And such like that. So in a perfect world, it is for everyone. But yeah, of course, mainly lesbians having kids. But also people who have lesbians who's gonna have kids around them, like their parents and friends and relatives. There is also one chapter that is named to you who have a lesbian around you who's gonna get kids.
I asked her for one example of what can be found in the book.
I write a lot, but it's also like that it is a very big step to take. It's not like, oh, she got pregnant by mistake. And also, if you didn't get pregnant by the insemination or IVF, that it really hurts, and that you have to think about that. And it's not just about the result, that okay, it didn't result in a baby, but it almost feels like someone has died inside you. So to think about stuff like that, and to ask questions but not ask too many questions.
Let's finish the video with talking about the future.
My dream with the book is that it's gonna help people, and I hope that it will. I also have plans to translate it to English so it can reach more people. So I think that is my main goal, just to help people. And also, because the books about having kids that is existing is always about a female and a male. This book is written from a lesbian perspective to a lesbian reader. And I think that is important, to feel like included and not excluded, and having to read things different in the head to get it up to apply to yourself.
So do yourself a favor and go get a copy.
You can find it on Amazon. I also have plans to start to sell it myself, like on a webpage. But that is for the future.
If you enjoyed watching that video, please like, comment, subscribe and share the video. I really appreciate you showing your love in that way. If you also want to support the channel financially, that's possible via Patreon, but really no pressure. See you next time!